This is our Nissan R33 GTST, but we have one problem with it. It doesn't move, and we haven't technically driven this thing at all because when we first put it together, we had an issue with the clutch. The goal in this video is to get this thing running, driving, ripping, put it on the dyno, and see how much power we can make. That's exactly what we're gonna do in this video. Also, this is our current giveaway car, and we are doing an awesome promotion on the website, so be sure to head over to motionontv.com and grab some entries, because you might be able to win this thing. So we got the car up on the lift, and look at this clutch slave. So you can see, look at it. Give a couple pushes. Looks like we're getting full throw. Like, it doesn't look like, looks like it should, in theory, disengage the clutch in there. But we did put the wrong disc in it. We're gonna go ahead and pull out the transmission and see if we can figure out exactly what is going wrong with this thing. So transmission is out, and you can see we have stock pressure plate, but we have an ACT disc in there, and what it says on it is not to be used with a factory pressure plate. And I just thought that, you know, maybe they're like, well, maybe they want you to buy the regular pressure plate. On like an R154, the factory pressure plate is actually pretty strong, so you're able to get away with a lot putting like aftermarket discs with a factory style pressure plate. So we thought that kind of a similar deal with this RB. Turns out that's not the case, or at least we think that's the issue why the clutch is not disengaging. So we're gonna go ahead and throw the factory disc back in it, make sure that's okay. Making sure there's nothing else that we're dealing with, and then we might just end up ordering a better, like an ACT pressure plate if this all fixes it and we need it because of power. So we're just gonna keep fixing it and go from there.
Look at that. It's pinched. That would make sense. That's why they don't want you to use it.
You know?
the aftermarket pressure plate would be a little bit bigger.
Makes sense. So it wasn't a thickness problem. It was a rivet pin problem, which, you know, that makes sense. Quick little compare. Yeah, definitely bigger. So. All right, we'll back in with this fellow and
It'll be good to go.
All right, so we took the clutch out of here and we figured out the exact issue as to why it wasn't working with this pressure plate. So you can see on this edge right there, if we zoom way in, see that fella? That guy was touching that guy. So you can see this disc is actually just a little bit too big. So it touches here, touches there, and it touches there. So that is our disengagement problem. So the problem is that this clutch disc is pretty much the same size as a SR20, and so we went ahead and overnighted one from ACT. So we're gonna have an upgraded clutch in here because it's gonna be making more power, right?
Yeah, that's the plan here.
And speaking of more power, we had an issue with our coil packs.
Yeah, we had one that was like intermittently bad. So it was on number 2, cylinder 2. We you know, isolated it to that one, moved it to 1. It ran fine for like 2 minutes probably, and then it started missing again.
And then it would start missing, and then what we would do, and then what would be crazy, we'd let it sit here and idle for a minute, and then all of a sudden it would go away.
Yeah,
rev, super smooth, and then all of a sudden it would start thumping again. So this is actually a upgraded PET. This is an upgraded coil pack set from PRP, so Platinum Racing Products from Australia. We were fortunate enough to be right next to them at GTR Festival, so we went ahead and picked up a set of their coil pack brackets, and these are actually the Spitfire coil packs, so they're a more upgraded version. I think they have a little hotter, a little nicer spark, so it is it's going to be ready to rip. So shout out to PRP. We got some of these radiator stays. We need to throw a nut on that one. Those guys are going right in there, and this thing is going to rip.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Well, it's actually gonna run smooth.
It's actually gonna run normal, yeah.
So, which is really good. All right, we got to interrupt this video really quick to let you guys know about our promotion we are running this week only on motionontv.com. So if you see all of these tools right here in front of the R33 that we're giving away, we're putting one of these tools in every single person's order placed this weekend on motionontv.com, along with 50 times entries. Not only do we have a huge multiplier, get a ton of entries for a chance to win the car, you get a random tool, maybe a random stocking stuffer. You can see we got some big stuff right here. We have a Milwaukee 1/2-inch brushless high torque impact. We have some screws, some drills. We have a full polishing kit. We got some screwdrivers. We have a socket ratchet set. We have some lights. We have some other cool stuff. So everybody who orders anything this weekend gets entries as well as tools in their order. So shop with us this weekend, and you might be driving home in the car and you get a guaranteed tool. Maybe you could use it as stocking stuffer. And we have a ton of new stuff on the website too. Check it out. Appreciate you guys watching this little ad. We got to get back to work. All right, boys, so we got some updates for you on the 33, and it's not looking good so far. So we got the clutch here. Look at that. So we got the clutch disc, and Sean went ahead and just threw it in. We got the clutch, the pressure plate, the updated pressure plate with the 6-pad disc, and he just went ahead and threw it in. We said, we don't have time for this. We got to get this thing in here, and so that's what he did. Turns out it still wasn't releasing, was doing some other stuff. Pulled it out, double checked it, put it back in, changed some stuff. We ended up switching the throwout bearing on the front of this to one off of a 240SX that was a little bit longer, because essentially it's still not disengaging. It stays, it's like you don't have the clutch in when you try to push it into gear. So what should be like the simplest thing that we should do, which is just throwing a stock, an RB25 upgraded clutch with an RB25 transmission and an RB25 in the chassis that it came with from the factory, like that should just work, and it's not working. So on the inside of this transmission, this is an OS Geiken. It's a manipulation kit to convert it from instead of it having like this push style disc. So this is an R32 GTR transmission. You can see it has the standard style slave cylinder that pushes this way, and then the clutch pushes in. Well, this transmission was designed with a pull style disc, where kind of like an Evo, where it grabs on the front of the disc and it pulls it to release it. Well, typically when you do like an aftermarket clutch setup, like an ORC single or like a twin disc, typically they convert it to a push style. So instead of having to buy all of this stuff on the inside of this transmission and drill and tap holes so that way you have the clutch fork, you pretty much just buy this OS Geiken manipulation kit. It's like a clutch articulation kit that modifies the way that it works. You put that in there, and then you have a push style thing. You keep your old style slave cylinder or the pull style slave cylinder, and you don't have to do anything. So that, for some reason, is not the right, it's not right. Same thing, so that for some reason is not right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna probably take everything out of this transmission, unbolt all that stuff, and just convert it to this. I don't know what's going on. There has to be something different. I don't know if this just doesn't have enough throw because it's used to having, let's say, a twin disc, which has a shorter engagement window, versus this one is like the standard disc, which is used to like being pushed further. Because we have an issue and we don't know what it is, so we're trying to figure it out. But I'll keep you updated as we go along. All right, so we're over here. We got to drill a hole in the transmission. Well, we don't have to drill a hole in the transmission. We have to be able to put the slave cylinder on here. So come over here. See that right there? So we already tapped it. We marked our holes. So, well, we haven't tapped it yet. We marked our holes. So now we got to drill. So check this out. Now I just gotta go find the right size tap it, bolt this fella on, and then we're just gonna swap this whole front housing right there. So I already pulled that off. We're cleaning it up right now. Should be good to go. Alright, so we got the whole inside converted. Check it out. We got the holes tapped. It's bolted on there. Sean, will you give us a demonstration, okay, of what it looks like.
Did you give them a demonstration before?
It goes in further and it goes out further.
So do they know this is the 5th time we've done this?
No.
Oh, probably not.
Well, actually, I did. Okay, so
that's in all the way.
It goes in further and it also goes out further.
Yeah, so like the last setup, it would come out to like right about here or so. Now this little bit right here is what we're missing. That's why it's not going into gear. This little bit here.
So hopefully
which is crazy. You wouldn't think that would really matter that much, but I'll tell you right now, it matters.
Well, guess what? We did it. We got it converted. We got it swapped over. Good thing I had a GTR transmission just laying around doing nothing.
Well, and we hope this works though. We're assuming that it'll work.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Should be nice. Well, I think we're ready for the dyno. First drive, technically. We got air fuel, we got all the stuff, laptop's charging, the boys are getting the other car off of the dyno, so right there. Oh, we got heat. For now, we got to get her strapped on the dyno and then we'll do some pulls. What a fine sight to see, which is the R33 out of dyno. So our goal with this thing was to be on the dyno last Friday, and today is Friday. So me and Sean got back from GTR Festival, and well, actually, I got back. Me and Sean pulled the transmission out of this thing on Monday, and thought we figured out the problem. Overnighting, wrong parts, switching some stuff. Finally, we ended up switching back to the OEM clutch. For some reason, the combination of the stuff that we had just didn't work, as well as the push conversion from my R33 GTR transmission. So it's on the dyno. We're strapping it down. There's my R33 that's eventually going to be a part of hopefully a pretty serious build. Again, I think I kind of outlined what I would like to do with it. We're close on the engine bay. I want to put this thing on the rotisserie and kind of clean up a couple things on the bottom of it, not go super crazy, but that is the goal. The goal is to hopefully do the giveaway on this thing, which obviously it's the current giveaway. I'd like to make some money on it, hopefully, a little profit. And we'd like to put some of that towards this thing and get this thing going on the road, and we can start ripping it as well. The Civic, I don't know what's up with it. Well, we know there's a rod hanging out of the front of it. I don't know what I want to do with it. I kind of just want to sell it and work on some other stuff. So yeah, if anybody wants to buy a K-Series all-wheel drive Civic with a dog box and a bunch of cool stuff, hit me up. But this thing's getting ready to go for its first rips. I drove it down the street. Everything felt really, really good. We hit like 0.3 pounds of boost. It went shoo, 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 shoo. Made some cool noises, and now we're gonna make some cool noises on the dyno. Now, loading the computer and making sure everything's good. You know what we never did was the sync. What? The crank, cam sync with the timing light. We need to do that. So we need to do the coil with the plug, and then do the thing with the timing light. All that stuff should be over there. Alright, we're setting the timing. With the car. Do anything else. 2 degrees of ignition timing, we picked up 30 horsepower, so I think it definitely liked the ignition, especially up top. right, so there's his final dyno numbers: 366 horse, 313 foot-pounds of torque. Let's see, 3,900, 200, and then 5,000 RPM. So I don't have any of the VVT stuff set up on here, but it's working good. All right, so we just did a couple little, like the little launch control setups on it right now. But as you can see, the highest power we ended up making tonight was 366 horsepower, 313 foot-pounds of torque. And it felt, in the car, it just felt super smooth and it just felt nice. So it was about 19.6 pounds of boost is what the CAN gauge is showing. Everything seems super safe. That was 12 degrees of timing initially on the pole right before it, which was 336. That was with 10 degrees of timing up top. So that's with 12 degrees. So with 2 degrees, we picked up that much power. I would like to mess with it maybe a little bit more, do a little bit more, you know, dial it in that aspect, play with the timing a little bit more. But as of right now, we just want to get this thing kind of dialed in enough to drive it. Obviously it's all dark, but I might end up driving this thing home tonight because we would like to go get some photos and videos and stuff of it, like not sitting in the shop. So yeah, pretty stoked on how it ran, how it performed on the dyno. Literally no issues. I drove it down the street, pulled it straight on the dyno, did some pulls, and now I should be able to drive it home. So 336 horse, I was planning right around 400, and I would say all we would really have to do is turn up the boost just a little bit more. With an inline 6 and that turbo, I think we just need a couple more pounds of boost, and we'll be there. Maybe a little ignition, but at 20 pounds, I would say maybe 23, 24 pounds of boost, it should make like 400 on pump, which is pretty cool.
366, right?
366. Yeah. So we're really close. So yeah, we're gonna get this thing off of the dyno and then take it for a drive on the street and drive it home. Maybe drive it home. I don't know if I'm driving it home yet or not, but we'll see. Found some clutch slip.
Oh, it was a deer. Is that a deer? Can you see the road with these lights?
Yeah, I need.
Like they're so bright.
You open the front door.
This thing's sick. It's probably the coolest car I ever get away.
You think?
Well, the R33 is
well, so the red S13 was pretty cool. So the fact that we did everything to this car, we made it look as good and we made it sound as good as it does. The freaking Artec downpipe, sound sick, the turbine housing, the Garrett, the G30-660 turbo, the ECU Master, that was literally probably the easiest I've ever had like tuning a car. Ditchworks 750cc injectors, Ditchworks 400 fuel pump. So pretty solid combination, and it rips. What do you think?
I like it.
I
remember having the R32 sit right here after we got done with it the night. It was like 10 o'clock at night and we finally got done with it. But this thing's just, something about it's just different. I don't know. I think it is, again, all the work. We had a lot of work in the R32 as
It's crazy like how close this car was to not being, like, initially when I found this car, like, Tommy wanted to buy it from me and just part it out. But
it's crazy how clean it is now. Like the interior, the exterior, the undercarriage, everything. Like the engine bay. Like there's not one part of this car we didn't touch, you know?
Yeah. So that's it for this video, guys. If you guys haven't got any entries for a chance to win this thing yet, head over to motionautoTV.com. You guys know the deal. This thing is absolutely sick. Rips on the dyno, rips on the street. I almost hit or hurt a deer, and I'm glad I didn't. But grab some entries. We'll see you guys later.